WCBM News.
The WCBM studios are brought to you by First Preference Mortgage. Secure and quick pre-qualification to save time. Go to the Quick app at firstpreference.com.
They called us deplorables.
We're not gonna take it.
They shut down our country.
No, we ain't gonna take it.
They say our thoughts are disinformation.
We're not gonna take it anymore.
We will not go quietly into the night.
You tell them I'm coming.
We will not vanish without a fight.
And hell's coming with me, you hear?
Today,
Hell's coming with me.
we celebrate our Independence Day.
This is our response, The Rob Carson Show.
It is the Rob Carson Show. It is America's middle finger toward Washington, D.C. I don't know if I like that. Anyway, you get the kind of the vibe, right? You kind of get it that abuses and usurpations is what we're going through. Abuses and usurpations while you scramble and you wonder if you can afford. I remember I do all the shopping in the family and I have been in radio for a number of years. I lived in Washington, D.C. I made a very nice salary there. I still lived paycheck to paycheck-ish, but never have been independently wealthy. And, when you always look for the yellow sticker at Walmart. I don't know if you know what the yellow sticker is. Yellow sticker is like when something's about ready to go bad. The expiration date is right there, and they discount it. And I'm a big yellow sticker shopper, and always have been. I don't care how much. If I made $10 million a year, I'd still look for the yellow sticker. That's just the way I roll. Because, never like Kim Kardashian. She's whatever she is. She never has had to go to the grocery store and consider prices. And she can go buy houses and not consider the price. It's like $50 million. Can I get it for $49,999? Okay, here, cash. Never been there. And so, we're carrying all of this nonsense on our back, this $6,700 additionally, $750 a month caused by Biden's inflation because of government spending. And now they're going to allow people who make under $125,000 individually. I know, right? In Washington, D.C., they're like, oh, those people are peasants. Really, if you make between 100 and 125 as a single, you're doing well, except for if you live in New York, maybe D.C. You're doing pretty well. $250 as a couple, that's more than most of us make and most of us will ever make. And yet Joe Biden is going to pay off $10,000 of their student debt. So Jim Gossett put this together for us about student loan forgiveness.
When you go to school, it should be a rule. The debt is yours alone.
Not buying boats.
But now Sleepy Joe, he wants to go and cover all the student loans. He waited to do it, and then he said screw it, and threw the left a major bone. They say it's not enough, and they're gonna hang tough on the cover of the student loans. Student loan, the government allows you to delay it. Loan. Now they say you don't have to repay it. Loan. Biden says you're off the hook with this cover of the student loans.
You're getting the bone.
Joe and the left are into massive theft. The cover has been blown. No, it don't make sense to transfer this expense with the cover of a student loan. Student loan, 10 grand is only the beginning. Loan. We are only in the second inning. They'll forgive the whole damn thing with the cover of the student loan.
There you go. That is Jim Gossett, 2 S's and 2 keys. Jim Gossett, T's, I should say. JimGossettComedy.com. His show in Atlanta on the 27th of this month sold out, and there will be more. There will be more. Let's go to Dave in Santa Cruz, the home of KSCO, our glorious affiliate there. Dave, what's on your mind today?
Yes, hi. I just wanted to say, Rob, President Trump, just like any other private citizen, he has a right to know why his house was raided. The government needs to immediately provide all documentation as to why his house was raided, unredacted, because he is the president and he's a private citizen. He has both of those rights.
Yes, of course he does. And unfortunately, right now, you have a magistrate who was given the affidavit, which we don't know about. And clearly, he is. They did some judge shopping so they could carry out this unprecedented affront to the former president and the Fourth Amendment of the United States. I don't know about you, Dave, but when November rolls around, if in fact we do get both houses of Congress, I don't just want to see the FBI broken up into different departments. I want to see people go to jail. Because we've been going through this, and Donald Trump has been taking the slings and arrows, but they're coming after us. Make no bones about it. This is meant to broadcast fear to anyone. We have been affronted as Trump supporters and as conservatives for 20 years at least with the FBI or the IRS, and now as Trump supporters. And then ultimately after this, in the same span of 3 weeks while Joe Biden was on vacation, the president of the United States okayed 87,000 IRS agents to be used, and make no bones about this, to be used as political weapons against conservatives, Trump supporters, and people making less than $200,000 a year. It is utterly ridiculous, Dave. What do you think, Dave? What are your thoughts? I know your thoughts on the Trump raid, but how far do you think they're going to be willing to take this before November the 8th?
Well, at this point, they're breaking into people's houses, taking their stuff, and not providing full discovery.
Yeah.
You know, the president is a private citizen, like I said, so they're breaking into private citizens' houses, taking their stuff, and not clearly articulating what crime or why they're doing it. And also, as stated, the president has the highest security clearance, so him and his attorney should be privy to all that documentation.
Yes, but you see, back in May, the head of the National Archives, the interim head of the National Archives, worked with A.G. Garland to effectively waive Donald Trump's executive privilege. So Joe Biden, they teed this up so they could do it. It's just a matter of whether or not they're able to get away with it. Dave, I appreciate your phone call, man. Really do appreciate it. This is Fox did a little report on the raid of Mar-a-Lago, and Joe Biden did know.
On the documents for hundreds of years, but the archives just released a few hours ago this letter from May 10th, 2022. It's from...
This is the letter I was talking about in the meeting in May.
Acting Archivist Deborah Wall, written to the Trump legal team, addressing some concerns, some questions from the government to the legal team, and it gives us a timeline of some of those classified documents being stored at Mar-a-Lago. Now, you may remember, as we've been reporting for several weeks right now, that these documents, some of the documents, I should say, left Mar-a-Lago when the Trump team turned over 15 boxes to the National...
Because they were being cooperative.
National Archives in January. The material, some of that material fell into the category of Special Access Program, which is more sensitive than top secret. It appears there were continuing conversations between the archives, the Trump team, and the White House over Trump's executive privilege claims. According to the letter, the Biden White House did not make the final decision on executive privilege, but instead deferred to the National Archives.
And it sounds like they had a leftist Democrat tool in charge
On the issue of executive privilege to let them make the decision. The letter was penned.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You guys better make this decision to raid Donald Trump. Nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know.
By the acting archivist, it reveals that in April, the White House counsel's office, at the request of the Department of Justice, reached out to the National Archives to cooperate with the FBI to turn over the classified...
Do you want to hold them down while we do it, or vice versa?
...documents to the FBI for review. Also, Martha, others in the intelligence community, officials at DOJ and the White House consistently mention how the two are separate, but DOJ had to reach out to the White House in this case because it deals specifically with executive privilege.
It's a cabal. And if you're still believing that the FBI is somehow a law enforcement agency that treats both parties the same, honestly, you are just... There's no hope. there's no hope for you. Here's Tucker talking about Biden and the White House knowing of the raid and essentially planning it. This was the next step to take Donald Trump down and keep him from running for president again, which is not freaking going to work.
So when the FBI raided the home of Donald Trump, it was pretty obvious to us that this was the Biden administration ordering it. Oh no, separation of agencies, they said. We didn't coordinate this with DOJ. Well, of course they did. Donald Trump is likely running for president again. They want to stop him.
It's going to be hard to separate those agencies because I think they're engaged in some sort of carnal activity.
It's what they do in the third world. If you have a political opponent, you just imprison him. So now proof is accumulating that that's exactly what happened. The website Just the News just published a letter
Love John Solomon
from Deborah Wall, who runs the National Archives, to Donald Trump attorney Evan Corcoran. Wall wrote in April this, quote, I've decided not to honor the former president's protective claim of privilege. The counsel to the president has informed me that...
Well. That means thumbs up to the raid.
In light of the particular circumstances presented here, President Biden defers to my determination in consultation with the Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legal Counsel.
So basically, you guys, if you decide you want to raid Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago and do it close to the election, well, who's stopping you? Here's John Solomon.
And the first decision Joe Biden makes that's consequential is, I'm going to let the National Archives send the materials of my predecessor, Donald Trump, to the FBI to start a criminal investigation. That's the first thing he does. Then the Justice Department and FBI come back and say, listen, we got this problem. President Trump's probably going to claim executive privilege over these documents. We need you to waive it. And President Biden tells his counsel, I waive it. If the National Archives feels it's okay to send it over, they can waive the privilege on my behalf and send it over, and that's what happens. Right after that process is done, what does the Justice Department do? They launch a grand jury.
Yep, and they raided Donald Trump. It was a surprise to Joe Biden because he didn't know what day it was going to happen. He clearly knew that their cooperation would precipitate it. Yeah. Coming up, Marjorie Taylor Greene got swatted the other night, had law enforcement called on her home by a prankster, which could have resulted in somebody dying. It happened twice, actually. I've got Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about it in just a second. You are listening to The Rob Carson Show.